Party today in support of the GST bill. Goods and Services Tax bill was something which came during the UPA regime. It's a very well thought of bill, and I think it's truly the need of the nation and requirement. And I'm proud to say that I come from a state which has consistently supported this bill and has been quite in a rush to make sure that it gets implemented in the entire country. Maharashtra, when the Congress and NCP were in power, and now that the BJP in power, but our Maharashtra as a state, our line has been consistent about the GST bill and its implementation. And I must admit with great pride that this is one bill that our state is fully prepared for. We have trained a lot of people. Our software is ready, so we urge the government that this is one of the few states. I'm hearing a lot of other states complaining and having issues, but Maharashtra is one state which is absolutely open and very keen on implementing the GST bill. So this morning, as I was going through the question or reply, because the entire GST is going to affect our GDP and our FDI, so I would like to ask the Honorable Government and the Finance Ministry that in today's reply given by your government, they have given us sector-wise growth rates. In that, the mining and quarrying is down by 11%. These are data given by the government. Manufacturing is down by minus 2.9%. Trade, hotel, transport, communication services related to broadcasting is down by minus 3.4%. Financial, real estate and professional services is down by 4.3%. Now with GST implemented, as we are going to implement it soon in the nation from 1st of July, my first pointed question to the Honorable Finance Minister and the Ministry would be that everywhere data proves that wherever GST has been implemented, there has been hiccups. It would probably take a hit by the time, maybe a year or two, by the time inflation will be going up and down. With these kind of numbers already in development, which is being a challenge, how is this going to help our GDP at this stage? And second question about FDIs. This government keeps talking about FDIs. I would like to ask the Honorable Minister that what would be the repercussions on FDIs? Because the Honorable Finance Minister, with full humility, I'd really appreciate what he said earlier in his speech, in his opening speech today, that we are giving all these powers, which are parliamentary powers, to the council. So the powers are not with the state, they are not with the center. And actually, after hearing him, it was actually quite a worrisome situation that first of all, Parliament is the supreme authority in this country to make legislations. And judiciary does their job, we do our job. If we start stepping onto each other's job, what is really the final role of Parliament maybe 3 years or 5 years from now? There's nothing wrong in sharing power. It's nice that we are empowering states. States must be empowered. But finest legislations which are related to the nation and which is going to make a huge difference, which is interconnected, to give this kind of power to a council. And today, yes, the BJP is in power in the center in all the states. But what happens 5 years from now, 10 years from now? This is not going to be a scenario where there's going to be a single-minded government all over the country. Then what happens? And these legislations are not short-term legislations. They're not for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. These legislations are long-term legislations that we are making. These are constitution amendments we are making. So has really the government thought it through? There's nothing wrong. I'm not objecting to give the power to the council at all. But we must rethink while doing such legislation that what cost is it going to come? Because looking at states now, anyway, service tax is going to go up, as we know. And as we all know, provision under the section 171, where you have made profit sharing an issue. But sir, there are 40 crore people who are poor. If you look at all the marginal farmers with our poverty line, our poor people or average people in this country are over 60 crores. Now what happens if this inflation goes up? How are you going to be accountable for this, and how will the common man survive in this inflation? I agree, your answer, I know sir, will be that it's only going to be a hiccup period till we settle down. But till we settle down, what are you going to do to make sure the prices don't skyrocket? The second most important point is data privacy, sir. Today there's a new fashionable word saying data is the new oil. Most people are using it quite generously. Sir, the kind of data that is going to get generated with this through the GSTN, which is a private body, 51%, only 49% is the government, 50% are outside players. I am sure you have thought it through, but crores of data is going to be generated every day. What are you taking? What precautionary measures are you taking that none of this data will ever be leaked? Because every state is going to have its own authority for this data. There is a 1.1% chance that in a weak moment, any of the states or anybody in that system who has access to this kind of information, if by 1% chance, I'm not saying it will happen, I'm sure you've thought it through, but there is always a 1% chance. If somebody leaks it, it will be at a huge cost for our country. So there's nothing specific talked about privacy in this. Second, about compensation to states. So compensation to states, most people have talked about. I come from a state where unfortunately in the last 5 years we've had drought after drought after drought. So once GST is implemented, if there is an economic crisis, is the luxury items going to be good enough to pay for the compensation? Even the Mumbai Corporation, I remember Arunji, the Honorable Finance Minister, in his last reply had clarified that all the big municipal corporations will be given money and be looked after. But in the bill, there's no clarification of what is the roadmap going to be. And especially about economic crisis in drought and in floods. What is your plan B? Because all compensation is not going to come from luxury items. So what is the plan of the government? If you could, Sir, honorably, if you could clarify. Another problem that is going to come through with GST is compliances, sir. Mehtab ji talked about 30, but if my knowledge and whatever I've read is correct, there are not 30 registrations, there are 36 registrations people will have to go through. So the whole idea of having one country, one tax, if I'm doing business in Maharashtra and Punjab and Karnataka, I'll have to register in 3 different places. So it's taking away from the whole moment that it is, because the whole idea, the soul of the bill is to make things simplified, to make it seamless. So then if I have to register in 36 places, the compliance of this is going to be a challenge. And I'm more worried about is that more and more automation is going to come. So if more automation is going to come because of all this, what is going to happen to the jobs? I remember the Honorable Prime Minister consistently saying in all his election speeches that there are going to be 2 crore jobs generated every year. Sir, the jobs are not in crores, not even 1 crore, but they are only in lakhs. And if manufacturing numbers, as the government themselves admit in their ring, if manufacturing is dropped by minus 2.9%, sir, how are we going to have jobs? I think this is going to be a serious crisis, and I urge the Honorable Government to come back with a plan. Because it's wonderful to make jumlas and they sound wonderful, but they have to be a reality. After all, advertising is wonderful, but if it's not going to fill my stomach and get me a job, all this is going to be an empty promise to people. And I don't think that's what GST is for, and that's not the soul of GST. So I think you really need to look at employment, because this multi-state registration is going to be a challenge, and education. Like our state has aggressively looked at educating people. Rules and regulations, the Honorable Finance Minister has said that he is going to make them in the next 15 days. So I would request a couple of points, I'll do them very quickly. I would urge him that if he could get these rules and regulations quickly, because still there's a lot of speculation about, and there's no clarity about GST in people, because a lot of things have been changed from the first bill which was submitted 6 months ago. There have a lot of been changes through the council which are not in the public domain. The other very important point, sir, is about government composition levy. This is one levy which is not available for the supplier of the services. So the government is very proud about their Mudra Yojana, the Stand Up India, the Startup India. These are various you have done for people to start up on their own. But if their service tax is not going to get the benefits, and the benefits of this composition levy are not being extended to the small service providers. These are small service. Today, Rudy ji in his speech talked about women empowerment. He talked about women starting new businesses. Say a woman starts a beauty parlor through the skill development mission. If she's not going to get the benefits of this, what is the whole point or having this? So this clause is very, very critical, and I urge the government to look at the Government Composition Levy Act, which is Section 10. The other one is taxation of work contracts, sir. The taxation work contracts is rearrangement of words, and because of rearrangement of these words, the whole service is going to be in big trouble, sir. So I would request the government to look at it, because if you are taking one service, say my car has got spoiled, I sent it for servicing, sir. So if I send it for servicing and I take a mixed supply, suppose the tire is changed. The tire is in a much bigger bracket while the service is at a much basic bracket. So if I do a mixed supply of a service, then the higher tax will be implied onto this. So having this mixed is going to be a huge challenge, which is going to get into a lot of litigations and trouble, and people will not want to pay them. So this mixed supply back is very, very critical. So I urge the Honourable Minister to look at the taxation of work contract, relook at it, rethink of it. Sir, then there's another point. Last one point, sir. There's an input and sir, last 2 points. Sir, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. So just 2 points. Very quickly, I'll finish. The input tax credit availability, sir. Now, this is the draft bill of the CGST law. In this particular draft law, this section wasn't there, which has come in the CGST back. So I would like to ask that why are you not giving this input tax credit? Because this directly affects the telecommunication towers and the pipeline. Sir, you talk about Digital India. If this tax benefit is not going to give it to these common people, then what's the point of having all these great programs of Digital India, Ujjwal India, and all these infrastructure projects which are going to give to the common man? If they are not affordable and they are not going to get the tax benefit, then the cost of all this will be given to the consumer. So this is also very important, which is going to hurt the poor people of this country, and none of these dream projects that the Honourable Government and Prime Minister talks about can succeed if this is implemented.
भारत के अंदर अनेक उन्नत नस्ल की गायें हैं जिनको चुरा करके ले जा करके विदेश वाले क्रॉस करा करके होल्स्टीन, फ्रीजियन, ये कौन कौन गाय बना करके फिर हम वापस लाते हैं।